never really tell where the animation industry is going sometimes. Right when you think you know every franchise that's being juggled all at once, or maybe a random original production's being made on Netflix or something, sometimes a series that's been dormant for 5 years randomly comes back. And that's exactly the case with the third Angry Birds movie, actually called The Angry Birds Movie 3. Kinda gets a little bit bloated when you have the word movie and then the number of the movie in the movie. But even still, yes, it has been teased, and it's a really interesting production story. As not only has this franchise been gone for 5 years, the last movie was in 2019, but the Angry Birds movies in general kinda aren't that good, sort of. You see, together, Angry Birds 1 and Angry Birds 2 have amassed over $500 million US. Of course, the first movie is the one that made the most of it, with $354 million at the box office, whereas the second movie made $150 million. So they are somewhat, very much box office successes, even if they don't get close to $1 billion. However, on the review front, it's a little bit more choppy. The first movie has reviews in the 4 out of 10, 40% region, and the second movie is a little better in the 7, 8 out of 10 region. Generally though, the reviews for critics are quite mixed. The reviews on the audiences are at least a little bit more forgiving. It is, probably an enjoyable, simple movie, but does it really necessitate a third installment 5 years later? It's an interesting story, because you see, the first Angry Birds movie came out in 2016, when Angry Birds was vaguely somewhat relevant as a massively popular app that's probably one of the most used apps of all time, and was very much hopping on the company that owns the Angry Birds IP, Rovio, making the best out of it. And we had, of course, all sorts of celebrity castings in that first movie. Josh Gad, Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph, Sean Penn, Tony Hale, Keegan-Michael Key, Peter Dinklage, Bill Hader, brilliant. A real star-studded cast, many of which came back for Angry Birds 2 as well. And in that first movie, it was a simple enough plot where Red, the main angry bird, had to get the rest of the birds to protest and rise up against the evil green pigs who had come into their island and started, taking all of their resources. The second film, as I understand it, then went in an interesting direction, with Leslie Jones joining as Zeta, and having the birds and the pigs having to join together to fight a more evil entity in the form of Mighty Eagle. Apparently being a better movie than the first one, but still, okay. But curiously, now that 5 years have passed, the actual rights behind this movie franchise has gotten a little bit muddled, as it was Sony that made the first 2 Angry Birds movies. They are no longer involved in this third movie. In fact, it is SEGA who are here instead doing most of the heavy lifting, as they actually acquired Rovio just recently in 2023. So this is very much SEGA running and gunning with the IP they just received. And it only cost them $775 million. Woof. Oh, I should clarify, Sony Pictures were just the distributor, but, same idea, they're not involved. That being said, is this movie immediately doomed? No, I wouldn't say so, as they have got a lot of the crew and cast from the prior movies still involved in this third movie. One of the major names is John Rice, who is the co-creator of the Angry Birds second movie, who's also dealing with this third installment. Other things they have in their filmography include the likes of Rick and Morty, Beavis and Butthead, and Bob's Burgers. You've then got Thorup Van Orman, who was the other director for Angry Birds 2, who's instead now being relegated to the writing role. And we actually have some marketing quotes attached. Actually, we have loads of marketing quotes for this movie. We'll get there. Somehow there's so much to talk about for a 30-second teaser reveal. They say that this third installment will follow the continuing adventures of Red and Chuck. And that's about all we know on the plotline front, believe it or not. Great. It's early days still. Adding on, we believe that the upcoming The Angry Birds Movie 3 perfectly aligns with our strategy and presents a great opportunity for us. Don't know what that strategy is. Good to know corporations are still doing their corporation thing. Now, while we have got some of the crew members involved, some of the cast are here as well. I didn't mention Jason Sudeikis, who is the main character Red. We've also got Josh Gad coming back as the secondary character, and that's about it. The main 2 characters, they're back, what do you know, in the plot where we only know those 2 characters are involved. There's also all sorts of other corporations that are involved with having these cast members here. I won't bore you with that level of production details, but there are so many corporations with fingers in this gigantic bird pie. But some of the more notable ones you need to know of are Rovio Entertainment Corporation, of course, SEGA, and Prime Focus Studios. And of course with that, we've got all sorts of more marketing quotes from all of these different studios and their different representatives. We've got the CEO of SEGA, Shuji Utsumi, who said, "We are thrilled to announce that the brand new film of the globally beloved and successful Angry Birds franchise is to be in production." Sega has been focusing on its transmedia strategy to advance the value of its intellectual properties across games and diverse media landscapes. We believe that the upcoming The Angry Birds Movie 3 perfectly aligns with our strategy and presents a great opportunity for us to bring the charm of the Angry Birds brand to fans across the globe. Again, talking about strategy, I guess it's just make video game movies. Fair enough, I'm quite enjoying the Sonic movies, so Sega, you keep doing what you're doing. When is the Jet Set Radio movie? Give it to me, please. I consume all of this. Thank you very much for making it halfway through this video. This is the quick poke to tell you to subscribe to keep up with other animated movie news. You know the drill. I'll let you get back to the rest of our rambles about The Angry Birds Movie 3. There are so many people involved in this, you have no idea. I'm a little more hesitant to see whether the Angry Birds franchise still has that weight, because I mean, when was the last time any of you played the Angry Birds? I know they appear on in-table tablets in a UK McDonald's, so maybe they're 6 years ago I did. Once. I don't know, man. Now, the CEO of Rovio Entertainment, of course, had all sorts to say. Their name is Alexandra Pelletier-Normand, who says, "The Angry Birds brand knows no bounds, and an all-new Angry Birds adventure underscores how the worlds and narratives crafted in our world can seamlessly transcend into the realm of film and beyond." Very curious about that beyond there. Rovio is fully committed to creating an entertainment that sparks imagination across various platforms. We've seen continuous success in everything from games and feature films to licensed products and amusement parks. And we are thrilled to return once again to the vibrant Angry Birds world with our new partners. I guess I'll take that in mind. I wasn't even aware there was Angry Birds amusement park rides, but to be fair, if the franchise is still going now, maybe there is more basis for this movie. I come in kind of as an outsider to the franchise. I don't know too much about the details around these movies. It was 5 years ago that the last one was relevant. But if it's still got the weight to still be pulling in the numbers, and I guess it must be if Sega only bought them last year, maybe this has a lot of opportunity. It's going to be a curious case study to see if audiences are still interested in talking about this movie, you know? Other production people we know are involved in this movie are executive producer Toru Nakahara, who was involved in Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Prime. Also producer John Cohen, who did Despicable Me and the Garfield movie and the original Angry Birds movie. Carla Connor, who did the Willoughbys, and Dan Chuba from Mitchells vs. Machines. Very much all sorts of industry experts doing great 3D productions of all sorts of forms. We also come to learn that some of the production and character designers are back from the original Angry Birds design team. The head of story this time is Vadim Bazhanov, and as for the actual animation side of things, it's all being done by D-Energy Animation. Now, these are the guys that are often outsourced to make other 3D animated movies. They've done the Garfield movie recently, they did Nimona, they did Under the Boardwalk, if you're really interested about that one, and Ron's Gone Wrong as well, which is a particular highlight for me. So with that in mind, the managing director of D-Energy Animation, Crosby Kleiss, has a line that says, "The Angry Birds games are a global phenomenon, and the film franchise has enjoyed worldwide success. Our amazing D-Energy Animation team is thrilled to be teaming up once again with Prime Focus Studios and with our new friends at Rovio to create an all-new high-velocity adventure set in this colorful, crazy world." And then I'll finish off with two more quotes, one from a Prime Focus Studios representative who says, "I'm delighted to be partnering with Rovio, Sega, One Cool, Flywheel, Dentsu, and the incredible team of returning filmmakers and voice talents on this movie." God, that really shows how many people have their fingers in this pie. "It's an honor to be part of the next chapter in the amazing Angry Birds story. Prime Focus Studios is in production on an impressive roster of high-profile features, and I'm excited that the Angry Birds Movie 3 will be the next big animated project on our slate after the Garfield movie." And then from Flywheel Media, that also got mentioned in that long list from the Prime Focus Studios person, we have Don McGregor, who is the founder and CEO of Flywheel Media, who said, "The Angry Birds brand truly reflects the size and scale of content Flywheel Media are focusing on. We are thrilled to be joining forces with such incredible partners to deliver this film to audiences around the world." Believe it or not, there are still other corporations I haven't mentioned. As you can see, this is one big corporate bombastic combination of people collabing to bring something back from the dead in a way that everybody can hop in and monetize it. What I'm really here for is the actual quality of the movies. The Angry Birds movies, you know, they don't impress me. They're not that crazy, and I'm very skeptical to see whether this franchise still holds the weight in the 2020s, considering when did the first Angry Birds game come out? Gosh, that was 2009 and 2010 on Android. So, I mean, this is a already 15-year-old product. And I feel like it was really the early 2010s that really had that viral popularity. The fact that the first movie is all the way late in 2016, I guess puts it on the back foot, but it was successful back then, so I guess we'll just have to see if it will be successful right now. The movie's only in production, we've got a good little bit of time before this damn thing comes out. It's another thing to keep an eye on, another franchise being juggled, and I will certainly be covering every trailer and the main movie for a review when it does eventually come out. On that note though, that's pretty much all there is to know about the Angry Birds Movie 3. Still a clunky title if you ask me. But for now, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. Do let me know your thoughts on Angry Birds as a whole, and I shall see you in a little bit.